We are up and we are live. Hello, hello, hey there. Welcome in. Garrett, would you just click those notes on for me? And we're gonna get started here. I am so glad to have each and every one of you with me. I am Josh Ellis, the editor-in-chief of Success Magazine. And I'm here today to share maybe the biggest secret to success that there is. It's the one that has dominated my study of success since I came to work at the magazine in the first place. A lesson that is so common to the world's highest achievers that I know you are going to want to hear all about it, understand it, live it. This single thing is the difference between people who ultimately succeed and people who ultimately fail. More on that in just a little bit. This is just part one of a 3-day live training experience that I hope that you'll be able to join me through for the rest of the week. And I hope you will interact with us as well, because we want this to be a two-way conversation where you are commenting, and sharing, and really engaging with us. We're a big group here, and so I want everyone involved. We'll hopefully be hearing from a number of you later in the presentation today. Tomorrow, I'm going to be back, same time, same place, to help you better understand the need to set proper goals and some of the proven steps to achieving them. And then on Friday, I'll be here again as we discuss the ways that you can build a legacy. Truly live for something bigger than yourself. In a lot of ways, that's the whole point of life, to contribute something meaningful. But how do you do that? How do you achieve at a greater level? How do you reach your potential? How do you go from the person you are today, who may be plenty capable, after all, everything that you have in life, you've achieved yourself, but how do you go from the person you are today to the person who will achieve so much more? How do you get better? You know, I'll bet the odds are against you in some ways. You may be lacking time. You may be lacking resources, the money to make your dreams come true. You may be lacking the discipline to get it all done. You may be lacking in all sorts of ways, or at least feel lacking. And that is the problem, right? Maybe you even face competition that is making getting to the next level in your life even harder. You wish it wasn't so. Well, a great man once said, as profound a statement as I've ever heard, he said, "Don't wish things were easier, wish you were better." Don't wish things were easier, wish you were better. The great man who said those words was Jim Rohn. He is in so many ways the father of the Success Principles movement, the mentor to the masters, he is often called. And this week's live trainings are about learning a select few, just the tip of the iceberg, of his greatest lessons. As the week goes along, you're going to hear about an opportunity to turn Jim Rohn's teaching into the blueprint for your next steps in life. We're halfway through 2019 already. And I'll bet that you had big plans for this year. We all set great resolutions on January 1st. We want to make more money. We want to lose weight. We want to improve this habit or that habit and become the people we know we are deep down inside. I hope you've made some progress. But if 6 months in, you're not where you want to be just yet, then let's start thinking about the major steps you can take to create that life change that you seek once and for all. With the help of Jim Rohn, you can create the most impactful year of your life. It may not always be easy, but it is possible. And remember, don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. That idea brings me to today's lesson. Let's get right to it. Today we are talking about the foundation of all success study, personal development. In short, it's picking yourself up by the bootstraps. It's becoming the person that you were meant to be, working toward that. Nobody does it for you, though. If you don't have a massive background in personal development, that's okay. If you've gotten to this point in your life on talent or effort or charm alone, that's okay too. Personal development can help you unlock more of all of the above. But why do we need it? What is the point of personal development? Well, personal development is, as I said, the foundation for all of your success, even without you realizing it. Jim Rohn learned all of this from a mentor, Mr. Earl Shoaff, who was a successful businessman in his own right. At age 25, Jim, a farm boy from rural Idaho, he was in over his head in the real world. He was not successful. And then one day, his mentor, Mr. Shoaff, said to him, "Jim, if you want to be wealthy and happy, learn this lesson well." I'll quote, "Learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job." Jim said this was the most challenging assignment of all because the business of personal development lasts a lifetime. There's no end point. See, what you become is far more important than what you get. The important question to ask on the job is not, what am I getting? Instead, you should be asking your boss, what am I becoming? Because what you become directly influences what you get. Think of it this way. Most of what you have today, what you've done in life, you have attracted by becoming the person you are today. Because income rarely exceeds personal development. Sometimes income takes a lucky jump. But unless you learn to handle the responsibilities that come with it, it will usually shrink back to the amount that you personally can handle. It's hard to keep that which has not been obtained through personal development. So here's the great rule of life. To have more than you've got and keep it, become more than you are. Here to explain the concept of how personal development dictates your bottom line in a classic lesson from our success archives is the great Jim Rohn.
Let's get started. The first one is personal development. Now, in illustrating personal development, Mr. Shoaff, my teacher, started with money. Money's not the only place to start in talking personal development, but it's where he started, so let me share the thoughts he shared with me back then. Let me share them with you. Here's the best lesson I can give you on economics. It's very simple. We get paid for bringing value to the marketplace. That's about as simple as I can put economics. We get paid for bringing value to the marketplace. Now, it takes time to bring value to the marketplace. However, we do not get paid for time, so we cross that out. Mistakenly, the man says, I'm making about $20 for an hour. Not true. If that was true, you could just stay home, right, and have him send your money. So that's not true. We don't get paid for time. We get paid for value brought to the marketplace. Now, since that's true, here's one of the key questions of my talk to you today. Is it possible to become twice as valuable to the marketplace and make twice as much money in the same time? Is that possible? The answer is yes. Could you become 3 times as valuable as you might be right now to the marketplace and make 3 times as much money in the same time? And the answer is yes. 5 times, 10 times? Of course. America is unique. It's a ladder to climb. It starts down here, let's say, at $5 an hour, and it keeps going up. Top income last year, $80 million. The guy who runs Coca-Cola. Now, that's a heck of a ladder. That's why everybody wants to come here, right? The boat people are not headed for Vietnam. People haven't plotted and schemed for 50 years saying if I could just get to Poland, everything would be okay. Not true. Everybody wants to come to America. And the reason is because we've got the best wind ever blowing in our favor. We've got the best economic opportunity anybody's had in 6,500 years. And all you have to do is understand it and take advantage of it. Now, there's some key questions to ask here. Why would the marketplace pay someone only $5 an hour? Very simple answer. They're not very valuable to the marketplace. Now, we must underline to the marketplace. This person might be a very valuable brother, yes. Member of the family, valuable, yes. Valuable member of the church, of course. Valuable citizen of the country, yes. Valuable in the sight of God, no doubt. We're all of equal value in the sight of God. But if you're not very valuable to the marketplace, you don't get much money. You say, well, it shouldn't be that way. Well, then you got to start your own country. You know, this one's been in process for 200 years, and this is the best we've been able to come up with so far. But here's the key. You don't have to stay here. Now, there was a big debate in Congress last year that this $5 was not enough, should be 6, should be 6, should be 6. But we don't need legislation. 6 is already on this ladder. The next step up. You know, if you work for McDonald's, they'll pay you $5 an hour to take out the trash. If you whistle while you take out the trash, they'll pay you $6 an hour. So we don't need that legislation. You just need to take lessons on how to whistle. Have a good attitude. Now, as you begin to climb this ladder, why would the marketplace pay some people $50 an hour? Answer, evidently, they must be more valuable to the marketplace. 10 times more valuable. And is that possible for someone to be 10 times more valuable and earn $50 an hour instead of 5? And the answer is yes. That's what America is all about. Now, why would the marketplace pay some people $500 an hour? Evidently, this person must be much more valuable to the marketplace. That's what's important to understand, to the marketplace. And would the marketplace pay one person $80 million for 1 year's work? And the answer is, of course. If you helped a company make $1 billion, would they pay you $80 million? I'm telling you, it is possible. And that's why America is so exciting. That's why this financial ladder is so exciting. It's possible for all of this to come true for all of you, no matter where you start. As a student in school, just getting started out there in the workplace, this is all possible for you. Let's get started.
Okay, welcome back. You know, at Success Magazine, a lot of my work is going through the older resources in our vault. As the saying goes, there is nothing new under the sun. That is especially the case in magazines. After all these years, and Success has been around since 1897, we're not discovering some get-rich-quick scheme all of a sudden. Because those don't exist. What we try to do at Success, what I try to do, is give you the tools and the knowledge that you need just to simply reach your potential. And a lot of times that just means that you need to hear what you need to hear in exactly the right way from exactly the right person. And that's why I love these oldie but goodie Jim Rohn lessons. It's true that the clip you just saw is a bit dated in some ways now. I mean, the highest salary American CEO definitely made more than $80 million last year, and the minimum wage isn't $5 an hour anymore. But have the concepts that Jim was just talking about, have they really changed that much? No. They are every bit as foundational as they were when Jim first heard them from his mentor in the mid-1950s. The same as they were through his rise as a best-selling author and renowned speaker, all through his career, all the way until he passed in 2009. They're the same today. They're still true a decade later. They will always be true. The concepts are the same, and it's crucial that you understand them. So let me expand a bit on what Jim had to say just then. To put it simply, the economic marketplace is demanding. There is plenty of opportunity, but you've got to get ready for it and prepare for it. We've got to spend a portion of this year getting ready for next year. We've got to spend a portion of this decade getting ready for the next decade. Again, the reason why we are where we are now, for better or worse, is the work that we put into ourselves in the past, or didn't. A big share of life is spent getting ready, getting prepared, and part of it is the development of skills that make for success in that economic marketplace. And it starts with personal development, self-improvement, making measurable progress. See, personal development is a push. It's a struggle. It's a challenge. There wouldn't be any winning without a challenge. That's what life is all about. It's the struggle and the challenge to develop ourselves and our skills to see what we can create in the way of value to the marketplace. It's taking those skills and that value to the marketplace and seeing what it will return for us. New habits don't come easy, but they can be developed. Sometimes when you develop a lot of momentum in one direction, it's not that easy to change those bad habits that have put you there, but it is possible. It isn't easy, but it's possible. Somebody once said, success is 10% inspiration and 90% perspiration. You've just got to read the books, learn the skills, put yourself through the paces, do the mental push-ups, and get yourself ready. Inspiration is fine. I know a lot of you guys follow Success on Facebook for inspiration and motivation. But that inspiration and motivation must lead to discipline. It's one thing to be motivated, but it's another thing to be motivated sufficiently to take the courses, do the reading, do the repetition, go through it over and over until it becomes part of you. And those are the challenges that I was talking about. They're not easy, but they're challenges that if you win and develop and grow, they are the things that determine your place, your return, your equity, the worth that you get from the marketplace. Jim Rohn was a believer in 5 key skills that allowed for personal development and ultimately success in that marketplace that we have been talking about. So learn to concentrate on these abilities in your personal quest for development. They will help you skillfully attack the marketplace. I'll go through them. The first skill is to absorb. Develop the ability to absorb, soak in, take in information, knowledge. Be like a sponge. You know, sitting in class or at the workplace, sometimes it's easy to daydream, be preoccupied, be somewhere else mentally, checked out. Most people are just trying to get through the day. Jim always offered a better objective. Learn to get from the day, not just through it, get something from it. Soak it up. Each day is a piece of the mosaic of your life. Don't waste any days. Treat them all with care. The second skill is how to respond, because success is not just knowledge. Success is response to the knowledge that we attain. It's not just experience. Success is emotion created from experience. It's the emotional part that plays such a major part in our life and our future and our success. Responding to life means to let sad things make you sad, to let happy things make you happy, to let puzzling things puzzle you. Let things that are difficult create difficulty for you. And then learn how to respond. Reflection was the third key skill in personal development. Reflecting is an extra way of getting more value from what you know and what you've been through. So take just a few minutes at the end of the day and then at the end of the week and find a place, if you can, to be alone. And just go back and think through the day or think through the week. If you'll take the time to review what's going on in your life, review all that stuff, go back through the feelings that you had, you will make your life more valuable. Those things don't just end up as figments of the past. Fourthly, there's the skill of action. We have to develop the ability to act, the ability to take action on those feelings and the knowledge that we've developed. Disciplined action is what gives birth to great ideas. So without activity, ideas and dreams have no life. I'm flying through these now, but to conclude the big 5 skills, we have to recognize the importance of nurturing our ability to share. Sharing is a unique human capacity. It's a phenomenon, especially and only of the human experience. It seems that when we share, we are bigger and better for it. It seems like if you share something and give it away, you'd have less, but that's a paradox. What you share creates more for you. That's why we call it a paradox. You're not diminished by sharing. In fact, you are increased. That is such an important skill to have and to understand. Share what you learn, the feelings that you have with other people. So go over those key skills again to grow in your value in the marketplace. I advise you to jot these down and think of the ways that you can cultivate them. Absorb, respond, reflect, act, share. Over the next couple of days, as we discuss goal setting and goal attainment, as well as our opportunity to create a legacy for ourselves, you're going to understand how all 5 of those factor in and why they're each so important. Personal development, though, is the foundation. And here to tell us more about how it works and why it's important is the one and only Jim Rohn.
A lot of other ways to become valuable to your family, valuable to your friends, valuable to the community, valuable to the team, right? Valuable to the team effort, valuable to the concert. But here's what he said to me. In climbing this ladder economically, all you have to do is work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Once I heard that, it made sense to me. I kept hoping that everything else would change around me, found out that if I went to work on myself, worked on my skills, worked on my language, if I became better than I was each year, if I grew in skills and language and vocabulary and competence, then I would become attractive to the marketplace. Not very long ago, a company called me and said, Mr. Rohn, we're expanding internationally. We'd like to have a bit of your expertise to help us. Would you give us a bit of your time? We'll add some millions to your fortune. And I said, okay. And I thought later, isn't that interesting they would call me? Then my second thought was, of course they'd call me. Who else would they call? I can get the job done. Now, what a contrast for me, farm boy from Idaho, raised in obscurity, parents of modest means, broke when I was 25. How come I would get a telephone call and someone offer me a lot of money to help them in expanding around the world? Simple answer, evidently. Something happened to me between age 25 and where I am today. And I can tell you where it all started. From my teacher, Mr. Schoaf, who said to me, we don't have to change what's going on out there. That's the wind that's blowing. All we have to do is change what's going on in here. And now there's several ways to do that on personal development. And let me give you those ways. Here's the first one. We must learn from personal experience. Pretty simple. Learn from what happens to you. Take a look back over the last few months. Did you make some mistakes? How could you correct those for the future? Take a look back over the last year. Have you done it right or done it wrong? Let's correct it for the next year. Learn from your personal experience. Mr. Shoaff asked me when I first met him, he said, Mr. Owen, how are you doing? You've been out there now 6 years. And I said, I'm not doing very well. He said, I suggest you not do that anymore. What a simple, swift analysis to my situation. He said, if you keep doing it, the next 6 years will be like the last 6. You don't want that to happen. Let's make the changes. So learn from your personal experience. Now here's number 2, why I came to share this video experience with you today. And that, I call it OPE, other people's experiences. That's me, other people. That's your teacher, other people. That's your friends and colleagues, other people. The people you meet that can pass along to you their experiences, what's happened to them, the mistakes they made, how they corrected them, how they changed their health and changed their bank account and changed their income and changed their future. That's it, other people. Now, there's 2 kinds of people to learn from. One is failures. It's too bad failures don't give seminars, right? That would be valuable. Bring your notebook, have them tell you how they lost it all and threw it all away, threw their health away and threw their friendships away and things didn't work out well. That would be valuable. But now then we must also learn from positive, people that have done well. They've got the health, and so we ask them, how did you become so healthy? They've got the skills, so we ask them, how did you become this skillful? They've got the income, so we ask them, how did you get here in such a short period of time? So now here's what's important in personal development. In learning from other people, we learn, number 1, by observation. We learn what we see. We watch people that are successful in what they do. In sports, we watch their disciplines. In business, we watch their disciplines. By observation, what we can see. The reason I created this video is something that you could see someone's experiences translated for you. Second, we learn by what we hear. I've got some of my lectures on cassette tapes, so you can take them with you wherever you go and learn by listening. Turn your car into a mobile classroom and listen. And then listen to the sermon on Sunday morning. Listen to the lectures. Listen to the teacher. Listen to someone who's got something good to say. And then number 3 is vitally important on personal development, and that is read all the books you can possibly read in your lifetime. Mr. Shoaff got me started on my library. I've got one of the better libraries. Haven't read everything in it, but I feel smarter just walking in it, my library.
All right, Josh Ellis here again, back to break down some of what Jim had to say. Hope your Wednesday's going great, by the way. I will start with where he was leaving off, talking about his library, on reading, as he puts it, all of the books. You may be seeing where the skill of absorption is coming in, because Jim Rohn didn't have much of a college education, but as he always saw it, education doesn't cease when you leave college or high school or wherever you left off. Education is a lifetime process. You have to keep putting yourself through the paces to learn. That's how you get into those higher income brackets. That's how you become a more useful, productive, valuable person, because you didn't stop learning at 22. So work hard on developing these skills and be self-educated. Why not go beyond the standard and the average and the acceptable and become the advantage, the extraordinary, the extra capable? Why not? No one is stopping you from mastering some extraordinary skill. You can move up to a higher level. Jim used to say that your library, and heck, it could just be a bookshelf or the contents of your Kindle, but it needs to be balanced like the pantry in your kitchen, along with inspiration, motivation, business content, we should study history, biographies, autobiographies. Study people who have done unique things, both admirable and in some cases despicable, for examples of what not to do. We need to be students of both. All of the books that we will ever need to make us as rich, as healthy, as happy, as powerful, as sophisticated, as successful as we want, all of those books have already been written. People from all walks of life, people with some of the most incredible life experiences, people that have gone from pennies to fortunes and from failure to success, have taken the time to write down their experiences so that we can share in their knowledge and build from it, develop from it. The habit of reading is a major stepping stone in the development of a sound, philosophical, personal foundation. And in my opinion, it is one of the fundamentals required for the attainment of success and happiness. I want to say another thing about personal development content that you take in. It's all a matter of taste. I get dozens of books on personal development every week, and pretty much every one of them has valuable information in it. But it may not relate to me in just the right way. That's why, after all, there are hundreds of thousands of impactful speakers and authors in the world, because their individual, particular way of telling the story of how to become successful is tailor-made for their individual audiences. I always go back to the local gym as a metaphor. So what gym do you choose to work out at? The best gym is the best workout facility in your town. It's not necessarily the newest one that just opened. It's not necessarily the most expensive one, even though it has those nice fluffy towels and the showers don't have all that gross gunk in the bottom of them. The best gym in your town for you is not necessarily the ones where the trainers are easiest on you or hardest on you. There's really not an objective answer, because the best gym in town, as far as you should be concerned, is the one that you will go to, the one that you like going to, the one that keeps you coming back. Not once, not 10 times, but hundreds of times, thousands upon thousands of times, over years and years, for the rest of your life. Because health isn't a short-term process, and neither is personal development. You have to always be putting in the work. So yes, as Jim said, you should read all those books on management or sales or whatever the subject that you have identified that you need to grow in. Different authors will have different perspectives, so read them all. But they may not be all right or all wrong. It's up to you to decide the parts of each system that work for you, the ones you'll follow, and piece together your very own plan. I think that should make sense to everybody out there. Gather the best, disassemble every strategy, tactic, life hack, and put it all back together in your own way that works for you. But the important thing, as I was mentioning earlier, is to absorb it all, and of course act on the information that is useful to you and keep working on it, keep acting. That, at least, is how personal development worked for Jim Rohn, who we will hear from one final time for today, right now.
But I started reading the books, attending the classes, making sure that I got in front of people that had something good to say. And then I started keeping a journal. One of the major things my teacher taught me was to keep a journal. He said, don't trust your memory. If you hear something good, just make a little note and write it down. Now, at first I took, notes on pieces of paper and torn off corners and backs of old envelopes. and it didn't serve me well, you know, thrown in a drawer. Then I learned to keep a journal, a bound copy of all my notes. So I would suggest you do the same. Things that impress you, a poem that impresses you. When you attend a class, some of the ideas that impressed you, jot them down. You read something in a magazine, right? Some ideas, take those out, put them in your journal. Keep a good journal the rest of your life. This will serve you well. My journals make up a significant portion of my own library. And if you saw my library and saw my journals, I tell you what you'd have to say. This is the library, and these are the journals of a very serious student. No wonder Mr. Rohn is invited to lecture and speak on his experiences around the world. So I want the same thing to happen to you. Value captured that you can resort to later, go back over it and review it, and let it become valuable to you. So that's my first subject, personal development. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Develop the skills, learn the lessons, take the classes, absorb all that is being taught to you these days. And then later on, of course, you can sort it out, what's valuable to you and how to refine it for your business and for your life and for your future. But the main thing is to get it and start this process of personal change, personal development. And let me say it one more time. If you will change, everything will change for you. You'll never be the same. You'll keep growing. As you look back on a few months, look back on a few years, you won't believe the progress you can make. Economically, your relationship with your family, your friends, and whether you're in sports or economics or whatever, I'm telling you, that whole process of committing yourself for personal change, personal value, can really make your life unique and worthwhile.
All right, welcome back to Success Headquarters. I got a note from our staff here that I want to make sure I get it all just right. We saw some of the comments about the stream not being available on the page that we linked for you. So what we're going to do, we will email you a replay that's going to be available until midnight tonight. Check it out there, or go to success.com/yourplan to stay up to date with upcoming trainings. Garrett, if you'll just get my notes up and running again, then we'll break down what Jim had to say one final time. So what you just heard from Jim were the key ideas about the value of personal development. This is the big one. If you will change, everything will change for you. To talk about the role that change plays in success, we need to talk about the role that the lack of change plays in failure. Because failure is not a single cataclysmic event. Just as we don't succeed overnight, we don't fail overnight either. Jim would say that failure is the inevitable result of an accumulation of poor thinking and poor choices. To put it more simply, failure is nothing more than a few errors in judgment repeated every day. Now, why would someone make an error in judgment and then be so foolish as to repeat it every day? Well, we all do it. And the answer is because we don't think that it matters. On their own, our daily actions don't seem that important. A minor oversight, a poor decision, or a wasted hour here and there don't generally result in an instant and measurable negative impact. More often than not, we escape from any immediate consequences, right? If we have not bothered to read a single book in the past 90 days, Jim would say, this lack of discipline does not seem to have an immediate impact. And since nothing happened to us after the first 90 days, we repeat that error in judgment for another 90 days, and another 90 days, and on it goes, because it doesn't seem to matter. And herein lies the great danger. Far worse than not reading the books is not even realizing that it matters. See, people who eat too many of the wrong foods are contributing to their future health problems. But the joy of the moment overshadows the consequences of the future. Same thing with people who drink too much or smoke. They go on making these poor choices year after year, in some cases knowing that they're poor choices, but they haven't met consequences yet. So how can we change the errors in the formula for failure into the disciplines required in the formula for success? The answer is by making the future an important part of our current philosophy. What if you did develop a new discipline to take just a few minutes every day to look a little further down the road? You would then be able to foresee the impending consequences of your current conduct. Armed with that valuable information, you would be able to make the necessary changes, take the actions to turn your errors into new success-oriented disciplines. So by disciplining yourself to see the future in advance, you would be able to change your thinking, amend those errors, and develop new habits to replace the old ones. As you change daily errors into daily disciplines, you will experience positive results in a very short period of time. The results come quickly no matter what it is you want to alter about yourself. One of the most important quotes ever attributed to Jim Rohn is that success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. That's change. That's what change is about. And change is personal development. It's all about becoming more valuable through change, more valuable to your family and friends, whoever you come in contact with, for that matter. More valuable to your employer or your business if you're an entrepreneur. More valuable ultimately to yourself. You deserve this for yourself. There is no greater feeling than going to sleep each night knowing that you are greater, more valuable, more powerful than you were when you woke up in the morning. Forget the money or the status or fame or whatever. That is the greatest reward of personal development, that feeling when you lie in bed. And it's right there in front of you. I know that Jim Rohn has so much more to teach you about it, as he has taught me. So I hope that you will take advantage of the opportunity that is coming up. I told you a little bit about it earlier. Be sure to check your email to learn more about that. It is potentially a once-in-a-lifetime thing for you. Hey, okay, I told you guys at the beginning that we wanted these training sessions to be a two-way conversation. Wanted to drive some engagement, as we say in the media world. So how about we get to a few of your questions? Our team has done a great job and I think weighing in there in the chat, and so we will just pull out some of the questions that we've got from you guys before the live training even started and then even during. So thanks to everyone who sent in questions and comments. It's great to be interacting with all of you. I'm glad you were here. All right. The first one that we will go with is from Shauna. And Shauna says, how do I find a mentor like Earl Shoaff, who was Jim Rohn's mentor? That's a great question. You may not have to look far at all. It could be somebody in your family, your circle of friends, your community. Maybe it's a church, a community that you're in, for example. Someone who has done what you want to do or something similar. It doesn't need to be a millionaire or a celebrity. You just need someone who you respect and who has something to teach you. And it really is as simple as asking them directly for some mentorship, because people will rarely be put off by that request. It's quite flattering, actually. So it doesn't hurt to ask. So Shauna, ask them right away. And then you just have to be open and eager to hear and take in, absorb what they have to say, because chances are it's pretty good advice. Our next question comes from Kristen. Kristen says she needs more of an understanding on what to do when she falls off the wagon. She says, I want to create great change and lasting personal development habit, but I'm understanding the need for discipline, but I have been sidetracked before. Okay, so you're probably not alone there, Kristen. I get it. Sometimes that level of commitment can be challenging. We're all human, right? But I think that Jim would say to forget about all those times that it didn't work, because they don't have anything to do with this time. So why not now? You're asking, why would this time be any different than all those other times when you've fallen short, when you should be asking why it should not be different? Kristen, her mentioning falling off the wagon makes me think of like the classic 12-step program, like Alcoholics Anonymous. Every day, somebody walks into an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting and gets a one-day chip. In the past, they might have received 50 one-day chips before, but they keep trying. And that's 50 days that they didn't drink. They may have only gotten a dozen one-week chips, but they keep trying. If you want it, whatever it is, then you will keep trying, and eventually something will click. It will be more important this time. Do it for you, not for anybody else. So that's what I would tell you, Kristen. Okay, before we wrap up, thank you for all your questions. I just want to mention again that we saw the comments about the stream being down. We're going to email you a replay coming up on a link for a replay. It's going to be available until midnight today, so be sure to be on the lookout for that, or go to success.com/yourplan to stay up to date with the upcoming live trainings. We've got a couple more days of them, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about goal setting, and then the next day it's legacy. And these are plain, simple truths that Jim delivers that I'm expanding on here. We are glad to have you along for the ride with us, and I hope that you will be back tomorrow. We will see you right here at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Central. We are moving on to the next big topic. As I said, tomorrow is all about goals, how to set them, how to achieve them. I am looking forward to it. I'll see you then.